Can a machine definitively spot a liar? Welcome to this explainer on AI and the science of deception. Today we're exploring this rapidly evolving tech that's designed to bypass human intuition and quite literally replace the traditional interrogation room. Let's just dive right in. Imagine a completely frictionless scenario. No messy wires, no blood pressure cuffs, no intimidating detective staring you down. Instead, it's just artificial intelligence silently analyzing your face, your voice, and your microbehaviors to instantly decide if you're being honest. Now, I know it feels like a massive violation of your inner thoughts, but this isn't some far-off sci-fi concept. This tech is being built as we speak. Part 1. The End of Secrets, the Reality of AI Interrogation. Part 2. Beyond the Polygraph, Why Old Methods Scale. So, let's look at the fundamental flaw of the traditional polygraph. It completely relies on proxy metrics, basically measuring physiological stress, like your heart rate and how much you sweat. But here's the thing, stress isn't deception. You could be absolutely terrified and still be telling the total truth. Modern AI throws that stress proxy right out the window. Instead, researchers are training these new systems to recognize complex involuntary behavioral patterns that literally leak out of you when your cognitive load spikes during a lie. Part 3. How AI spots lies, decoding the microsignals. These algorithms track variables at an incredibly microscopic level. We are talking about minute variations in your voice pitch, sudden, rapid shifts in how fast you speak, and the exact milliseconds of your pauses. But honestly, the most mind-blowing element here is the facial mapping. The AI captures tiny twitches and micro-expressions that flash across your face in just 1/25th of a second. Those are details a human investigator would practically need a pause button to ever catch. And this sheer efficiency is exactly why real-world demand is just skyrocketing right now. From airport security checkpoints running pilot programs like the EU's recent iBorder control trials to corporate HR departments trying to root out fraud, organizations are seeing this as the ultimate lie detector at scale. It promises a faster, safer world, totally bypassing the bottleneck of human analysis. Part 4. The Ethical Dilemma, the Risks of Machine Judgment. But this brings us to a really severe complication. Can a machine truly understand human emotion? At the end of the day, AI is essentially just math and pattern recognition. But human emotion, it's deeply contextual, culturally bound, and honestly, remarkably messy. By outsourcing our judgment to an algorithm, we're assuming a mathematical formula can perfectly decode the human soul, which is an incredibly controversial premise among scientists studying affect recognition. Put yourself in the hot seat for a second. Imagine you're at an airport. You're completely innocent, but you're sweating, your voice is tight, and you're pausing a lot because you are terrified of missing your flight. To an AI camera, your completely natural travel anxiety might trigger the exact same biometric flags as an international smuggler. How is the machine supposed to know the difference? Well, this opens a terrifying door to false positives. Psychologists actually call it the Othello error. That's when an honest person acts nervous because they're terrified of not being believed, and that very nervousness gets interpreted as a lie. If an algorithm makes this error, the consequences for someone's freedom, their career, or their reputation are absolutely devastating. This is precisely why the broader scientific community draws a really hard line here, asserting that no technology can accurately detect lies in every single situation. Human behavior is simply way too diverse across different cultures, neurotypes, and personalities to be reliably mapped down to a single absolute mathematical truth. Part 5. The Verdict on Truth, Patterns versus Minds. So we really need to separate the hype from the reality here. AI is incredibly powerful at identifying biological anomalies and those behavioral patterns linked to cognitive load, but it absolutely cannot read minds. Because deception is about intent, not just some biological reflex. Human judgment, our actual capacity for context, empathy, and nuance, remains completely indispensable. Still, we've got to acknowledge that AI is continuing to evolve at a blistering pace. As these algorithms get smarter and more ubiquitous, the line between absolute truth and technological analysis is only going to get blurrier. Figuring out how to balance our desire for security with the protection of fundamental human rights is for sure going to be the defining challenge of this new frontier. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought about our civil liberties. Would you trust an AI system to decide whether someone is lying? As this technology leaves the lab and enters our airports, our workplaces, and our courtrooms, it's a reality we're all going to have to face very soon. Keep asking the hard questions, and thanks for joining me for this explainer.